What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Hazel Lemon 47, and before we begin, I want to acknowledge why it's been about 2 weeks since my last upload. Last week, I had to move from my old home to my new one while also working first shift instead of my usual second shift. So, between packing, settling into my new place, adjusting my sleep schedule, and working, I didn't have enough time to record and edit a quality video. And as much as I want to upload weekly, consistently, I refuse to rush out a video that I'm not proud of, simply for the sake of meeting an internal deadline of mine. I would rather take the extra time, make something worth watching, rather than upload something unfinished, just to say that I posted. I was able to live stream last Monday, but returning to a regular upload schedule has taken a little longer than I expected. Honestly, that experience made the subject of this video feel even more relevant to me. If balancing content creation with a job and everyday responsibilities can already be this difficult, what happens when creating content becomes your full-time job and your livelihood depends on it? So today, I want to take a realistic look at that question. Is full-time content creation actually worth it? Imagine finally quitting your job to become a full-time content creator. You finally made that executive decision after making some good money off of your videos. No more clocking in, no more asking for time off. You get to make the videos, set your own schedule, and earn money doing something you genuinely enjoy. It sounds like freedom. But what happens when your income suddenly drops? What happens when taking a day off means losing momentum? Or when the hobby you once loved becomes responsible for paying your bills? Full-time content creation can be an incredible career, but it can also be financially unstable, mentally exhausting, and far more demanding than it appears from the outside. Before you leave a stable job to pursue YouTube full-time, there are three major things you need to consider: your finances, your mental health, and how content creation could affect your everyday life. The first and probably the most important issue is financial instability. When you work a traditional job, you generally know how much money you will receive every payday. As long as you continue working your scheduled hours, you'll have a fairly reliable source of income. For example, I'm paid fairly well for the hours I work, especially when you factor in overtime and the 4 bonuses I receive every year. YouTube doesn't provide that same level of security. One of your videos might take off and receive thousands or even millions of views. That video could generate a substantial amount of money, attract new subscribers, and make it feel as though your channel's finally broken through. But your next video might barely receive any views or attention at all. Creator revenue can fluctuate because of changes in viewership, advertiser demand, copyright claims, invalid traffic adjustments, and seasonal changes in advertising rate. Google's own AdSense documentation explains that the revenue can rise and fall with advertiser competition and seasonality. YouTube also warns that estimated earnings may be adjusted after initially appearing in YouTube Studio due to tax withholding. That unpredictability becomes much more serious when content creation is responsible for your rent, your groceries, your car payment, and every other monthly expense. You also have to consider everything you may lose when leaving your traditional job. Depending on your employer, that could include your health, dental, vision insurance, your PTO, sick leave, and retirement contributions. Once you become self-employed, you may have to pay for those things yourself. I mean, there's no calling in or using vacation time. You essentially create your own PTO and sick leave. At the same time, you're setting yourself up for retirement, and hopefully an early one at that. This does not mean earning a living through content creation is impossible. It means you should not just quit your job because one video performed well or you had a profitable couple of months. And ideally, before making the transition to full-time content creation, you should have several months of consistent creator income behind you. One successful video or 1 or 2 profitable months is not enough to prove that your channel can reliably support you. You're gonna need enough history to understand what an average month looks like, including the natural highs and lows in views, your advertising rate, your sponsorships, and your audience growth. You should also have multiple sources of revenue. That can include advertising, sponsorships, memberships, merchandising, affiliate links. I mean, there are so many ways you can generate outcome outside of content creation, such as you can even day trade. Although any unpredictable source of income should be treated very cautiously. The goal is to avoid having to depend on your platform because of the YouTube algorithm. If one source suddenly disappears, the others can keep you financially stable while you adjust. To kind of continue what I was just saying, your savings are just as important. Having an emergency fund should be able to cover several months of essential expenses, including your rent, groceries, any private insurance you'll have to obtain, transportation. Gas is getting real expensive at the time of writing this video. So, I mean, any unexpected emergency should also be covered from this emergency fund. This money gives you that breathing room during a prolonged downturn when the algorithm decides to just choose violence without forcing you into debt or pressuring you to create desperate, rushed content simply to just pay your bills. Views, as we just said, can fall. Sponsorships can dry up. Platforms can change without warning, and unexpected things can appear at the worst times possible. The goal is to make that transition from a position of financial stability, not because you had one successful month, but because you've built a business capable of surviving several unsuccessful ones. The second major consideration, and can also be considered to be the most important one, is your own mental health. Publishing content means placing your work and even your personality in front of thousands, if not millions, of strangers. Some of those people, if not most of them, will support you. They'll offer you useful criticism that'll help you improve and overall just give you a boost in morale. But you may also receive insults, personal attacks, or comments from people who are just trying to hurt you and trying to get a reaction out of you. And depending on your background, your upbringing, and your personal experiences, you may or may not already find criticism difficult to ignore. When content creation becomes your livelihood, that feedback can carry even more weight on your shoulders. And a negative comment no longer feels like someone merely disliking a video. It can feel like a threat to your career, your income, or even your self-worth. Research into mental health and content creation has identified burnout, anxiety, depression, visibility pressure, harassment, and financial uncertainty as potential risks associated with creative work. Part of entering the world of content creation is learning how to separate constructive criticism from the meaningless negativity of others. While constructive criticism can help you improve your videos, negativity usually deserves no more than a block, a deleted comment at that, or even no response at all. To add on to this dilemma, content creation can sometimes, or rarely, even have a true off switch. You may finish recording and editing for the day, but your mind keeps working. You think about the next video, whether your thumbnail is good enough, or how the current upload is performing, and what you need to do differently next time. Even on a scheduled day off, you may feel guilty because you could be writing, recording, editing, or even responding to all your comments. All of this can create an unhealthy situation in which every moment of rest feels like wasted time. And in many ways, it's almost comes with being a business owner, especially when your name, personality, and reputation are at the center of that business. Then there's that gosh darn algorithm. A video can underperform even when you believe you did everything correctly. When that happens, it's easy to panic and repeatedly refresh YouTube Studio. Watch every view and percentage change in real time. Analytics are useful, but they need to be understood in context. In summary, one of the aspects of these analytics are impressions, which YouTube defines impression click-through rate as a percentage of registered impressions that resulted in someone watching the video. However, YouTube also explains that CTR, or click-through rate, varies depending on the contents, the audience, the traffic source, and where the thumbnail was shown. For example, a low CTR could indicate that your title or thumbnail needs improvement. However, it could also mean that YouTube is showing your video to a broader or less familiar audience. or that the topic has limited appeal. YouTube's audience retention report can also show which moments held viewers' attention and where viewers stopped watching your video. And all this can help identify problems with the introduction, your pacing of your video, or how you structured that video. In summary, analytics should help you make informed decisions. They can show you what captured your audience's attention and where they lost interest and what you may want to improve on in your next video. But at the end of the day, analytics are data, not a judgment of your talent, your effort, or your worth as a person or creator. A video underperforming does not automatically mean that you failed. Just as one successful upload does not mean you have figured everything out. Sometimes a video reaches the wrong audience, covers a less popular topic, or simply needs more time to find its viewers. When it came to my very first video on this channel, I thought that it had failed. I thought I was just every other statistic on YouTube. And 8 days later, it ended up getting almost 100 views and thousands of impressions. And from that point on, I decided to not really pay attention to the analytics as much. To piggyback off of what I had just previously stated, it may help to limit how often you check your analytics and give each upload enough time to perform before drawing your conclusions. Look for patterns across several videos instead of allowing the first few hours of one upload to control your mood. Use the numbers to your advantage, but do not allow them to determine how you see yourself and negatively impact yourself. Your performance may change from one upload to the next, but your value as a person and your potential as a creator cannot be measured by views, likes, or percentages on a screen. The third and final consideration would be the workload. Now, I know some of y'all are over here like, oh, Hazel Lemon, the workload. Oh, it's so hard making videos and all that. And for the most part, a lot of other people have harder jobs than me. And yeah, making videos has its hardships. And I'm not saying it's the hardest job in the whole entire world. But from the viewer's perspective, content creation could look relatively simple. You just record a video and you just upload it. And yeah, you earn all the money. But in reality, especially in the very beginning, you're responsible for nearly everything. You are the writer, you're the presenter, you're the camera operator, you are the editor, you design the thumbnail, you market yourself, you account for all of your expenses. And yeah, it's just mainly on you. And as we had just talked about, when a video doesn't perform well, you gotta go back to the drawing board and determine what the problem was. Was it the title? Was it the topic? Did I go too slow? Was I over-explaining myself? All of those questions, all of those evaluation takes time. Even YouTube's own guidance recommends comparing a video's production cost, revenue, viewership, and time required to produce it when developing a sustainable upload schedule. A simple 30-minute video to the viewer may represent several days, if not weeks, of planning, recording, editing, and multiple revisions. That's one thing I can attest for, because as y'all know on this channel, I usually upload long form videos that are between 20 and 40, almost an hour. And all that takes a lot of time. And that's a whole weekend every night that I spend editing my video. So when it comes to time, definitely can take a long time. You compare this to the actual work environment or the workplace, and for the most part, you're not thinking about all these other things that we have just previously mentioned. You're not thinking about whether McDonald's or Burger King is going to fail whenever you leave, because at the end of the day, you got paid for your time and you learn to just leave all that at the doorstep. Well, when it comes to the workflow of YouTube and content creation, all that comes home with you. I know this part of the whole video may not apply to all of you guys, but depending on your living situations and your circumstances, you could be by yourself, and working independently can become very isolating. A traditional workplace gives you opportunities to talk with your coworkers and feel like you're a part of a team. And full-time creators may spend most of their working hours by themselves making content at home. I think by far one of the greatest risks of content creation may be losing the passion that made you want to create in the first place. I genuinely I love playing Minecraft, and I love showing you guys everything that I know about the game of Minecraft and all the mods that are associated with this game. And it's like a hobby to me. And since it is a hobby to me, I have the freedom to experiment. I can, if I need to, take a break, if just like I am now, coming with this video. And when one of those videos becomes responsible for paying my bills, a lot of that freedom may go away. It may disappear. When that one video that you experimented with pops off and gets those views, you may feel pressured to continue that trend that you just started and repeat the same format because it consistently performs well, it pays well, or you may even continue to upload even when you are mentally exhausted. And you might have an idea you are genuinely excited about, but abandon it because you are afraid it will not generate enough views or money. This is something we've seen happen to successful creators. There's YouTuber Elle Mills experienced rapid growth at a young age, and but with that success came a mounting pressure to keep producing content and traveling and outdoing what she had previously done. And in 2018, she uploaded a video that she was burnt out. It was titled Burnt Out at 19, and stepped away to prioritize her mental health. And her experience shows that achieving success does not automatically make the pressure disappear. In some cases, success can make that pressure even greater because you now feel responsible for maintaining everything you have built. Fortunately for Elle Mills, she now is a successful writer and producer and director. So kudos to her for finding that drive in something that she enjoys doing, even if it isn't following trends. With all that being said, it doesn't mean that content creation will inevitably destroy your passion and what you love. As we see with Elle Mills, she ended up reinventing herself and finding what she liked to do was writing and directing movies. It just means you need to set your boundaries. You need realistic expectations and something that you can identify with outside of your channel. Otherwise, something that you once loved can gradually begin to feel like another job, except this job is built around your name and it'll follow you everywhere and can be difficult to leave at the end of the day. So with all that being said, the question remains, is it worth it? And that's a question that you will have, as the viewer, will have to answer for yourself. But despite all these risks, I think full-time content creation can be absolutely worth it. It can give you creative independence and control over your own schedule and give you the opportunity to build something that genuinely belongs to you and has your name, your brand on it. It can allow you to connect with other people with similar interests around the world and make a living from work that you find meaningful and that you love. But I believe it's only worth it when you are properly prepared. In terms of, am I prepared to do that right now? It is a big no. I mean, we're talking about leaving a stable income for something that isn't even established yet. I don't even know if this, hopefully this pops off later in the future, and I would love to do this full time, but I got to ask myself, do I have enough savings to support myself during an extended period of low income? And the answer to that is just a big old no. I mean, I don't. If I have no income at all, I don't have enough money maybe for the next 2 months, and then I'm done for. Now, for any of you guys who are on the verge or on that teeter-totter of whether you should quit your job or not, I mean, you should probably ask yourself if your channel has generated consistent income over a certain amount of time, not just 1 or 2 successful months. Do you have multiple sources of income, advertising, sponsors, memberships, stuff we already talked about previously? And what's your plan for your health and retirement, and can you maintain the upload schedule without destroying your health, relationships, or enjoyment of creating, or your enjoyment of life overall? If those are questions you can't confidently answer, that doesn't mean you should just give up on it. I mean, it just may simply mean that content creation should remain part time while you continue building your channel, while you continue to improve your skills, and while you save money, and while you start building your retirement and developing more reliable sources of creator income. Now, by no means should you quit your job and think you will eventually become sustainable, because let me tell you, that is a way to, unless you are blessed by the algorithm, that is a quick way to just lose all your money, your savings, and everything that you've worked for. You should definitely wait until your content creation is already sustainable enough that quitting your job becomes the logical next step in your journey. Full-time content creation is not an easy escape from traditional employment. It's a business, it's a career, and a major personal commitment. For the right person under any circumstance, I think it could be absolutely worth it, but just making sure that you are moving toward it with a plan and not jumping into it because the dream looked easier from the outside. I just want to say thank you all for sticking around till the end. I hope y'all enjoyed the gameplay that I had playing in the background in this slightly different kind of video. While Minecraft will remain a major part of this channel, I would also love to share some of the other games that I genuinely enjoy playing. I know many of you came here expecting Minecraft, and I promise there's plenty more Minecraft content on the way as I get more time later this week. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night. Peace.